Hello, friends, and welcome to The Press on this match day 3. Plenty to catch up on. We're going to look at Liam Delap's Chelsea debut, the fiery matchup between Boca and Benfica, and an in-depth look at Felipe Luis Flamengo tactics. Apologies. I'll get his name right at some point. Joining me is Julian and Liez. They were with us yesterday and they're back again today. And let's have a look at the results. Let's get you caught up straight away. Chelsea in the first game of the day, a 2-0 victory against LAFC. Boca Juniors drawing 2-2 against Benfica, and Flamengo against Esperance. A 2-0 win for a very impressive Flamengo. Liez, Jules, it's great to see you both. All feeling good? Some cracking games today.
Yeah. Very good. A lot of good action, yeah.
Absolutely. Right, let's get straight into this and get you all caught up with every single goal. So, first game of the day was Chelsea against LAFC, and Chelsea's 9th win out of their last 10 games. But the shock to many was that Nicholas Jackson started the match without new signing, £30 million signing. Liam Delap had to settle for a place on the bench. So here we have it, a routine 2-0 win, a great pass from Nicholas Jackson, and we'll be talking about the debate between those two. Neto with a gorgeous bit of skill and a great goal. It was pretty routine, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I think Chelsea in control. We see a bit of tension at half-time between Bouanga and Neto. We'll talk about that a bit later as well. But yeah, Chelsea very much in command. Even if in the second half, LAFC had a couple of decent chances, it was always a matter of time before Chelsea scored a second, and that's it.
That's it. Two substitutes combining here, Liam Delap and Enzo Fernandez, making it a 2-0 victory. But Liez, LA had a couple of chances.
Yeah, a couple of chances. I think overall Chelsea were the dominant side, but a few moments of fear from Bouanga in particular, but I just think the finishing laying him down there.
Absolutely. And yeah, so many sort of heated games today, and we'll get into all the detail there. Second game was Boca Juniors against Benfica, which was exactly that. And going in, we were excited to see Angel Di Maria, but unfortunately, no Edison Cavani through injury. You couldn't take your eyes off this one. Boca going 2-0 up in the first half. Fantastic play from them, winning a few aerial duels that made it matter for them to get those 2 goals, but then it all fell apart, didn't it, Jules?
Yeah, just there before half-time, Palacios, the foul on Otamendi, who I think is quite clever in the way he sees the Boca midfielder coming. It's a red card for Herrera, the former Manchester United player, who was not happy with the decision of the penalty. And Angel Di Maria, of course, so cool. Look at this. For one of his final games for Benfica before going back home.
Absolutely. And then right near the end, we've got a second of 3 red cards. Belotti, who'd just come on, and it was a yellow card initially, then it went to VAR, and it was announced by the referee, literally, that Belotti had to go. But 10 men, they were able to still make it count. Another Manchester resident scored. It was Otamendi with the bullet header, and then another red card, Liz.
Yeah, I think it just got out of hand towards the end. I mean, tempers started flaring. This was a game that had everything, to be honest with you. Comebacks, goals, red cards.
Definitely had red cards.
Great game for a neutral.
That's right. And then the final game of the day, Flamengo against Esperance. This game was an opportunity for us to see one of the most exciting up-and-coming managers, Flamengo's Felipe Luis. See, I told you I'd get it. Only 3 defeats in 45 games played for him, Flamengo, and they were fantastic. Arrasqueta with the first goal, and they were totally dominant throughout the game. And there was somewhat of a European style to them, wasn't there?
Very much so, and they've got a lot of players like Jorginho, for example, who used to play in Europe, some experience too. They're top of the league in Brazil as well, so they clearly have that momentum going. You said Felipe Luis, very exciting young manager. Luis Araujo, the former Lille winger, with a lovely goal there after that pass from Jorginho.
Yes, we'll be talking about Jorginho and those unique tactics from Felipe Luis. I'm going to get his name at some point later on in the show. Let's have a look at what you guys have been saying on the social board. As you can see, there's one hot debate that we're going to try and tackle. It's Liam Delap versus Nicholas Jackson. 2 great strikers, Delap the new signing, and he made his debut, but he didn't start. And both have qualities. And a lot of people are talking about the 2 of them. We're going to try and sort of dissect the movement, the quality, the attributes that the 2 of them have. And then at the end of this, we're going to try and decide on who we think could be the future for Chelsea. But let's have a look at the tactics board firstly, because In terms of how Chelsea play, we really, really do understand how they do like to set up. And under Maresca, it's very, very clear that although they start here with a simple setup in their own half, it will move and, crucially, they'll look to have a lot of width on both sides. And so Cucurella, we're going to come back to his role, which was really, really interesting in this game. But was it effective? We'll get to that. But that centre-forward role, Jackson had it. Will he hold on to it? Because you've got to be quite complete as a striker to be the striker for Chelsea, Liaz. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think what Maresca asks for in a centre forward and the role in general in 2025 demands so much. And Nico Jackson and Delap both bring similar qualities, I would say different in certain regards, but two really top number 9s.
Yeah, and I think the big thing here is you've got Jackson, who maybe sometimes wants to kind of drop in a little bit more than run the channels, although he's willing to do that. And then someone like Delap, who feels like he's on the half turn that little bit more. Let's start off with Jackson, because he did start the game, and overall, he had a really, I think he had a solid game overall. Yeah. And it is one where there will be that natural bit of pressure because there's a new striker in town, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Nico Jackson was very much the only striker that they had for the last 2 seasons, with goods and bad, highs and lows. But now he knows that if he's not performing, there will be someone else to step in. And we saw a first good run. This is a very good run as well. Then he's a little bit clumsy, which we've seen a lot in the Premier League in his time at Chelsea. Again, running down the channels, holding the ball up well. That he can do. It's more the finishing that's really let him down in his time. If you look at his XG, and in the last 2 seasons, the goal he scored is underachieving a little bit. But it's true that he's got quality. This is a great ball for Madueke, but it's still not always perfect.
Yeah, Liaz, your thoughts on Nicholas Jackson? Because, I mean, he's had some OK seasons.
That's a wonderful pass, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think that right there kind of encapsulates Jackson's game. He is a wonderful footballer, very technically gifted, and more importantly, I think very unselfish. I think he's very good at bringing others into play. And for those goal-scoring wingers such as Madueke, I think he is really big for them. But maybe this is the side of Nico Jackson that kind of lets him down.
Yeah, I think in this clip you can see that he sort of makes a bursting run, and it does take those 2 defenders away. But you want him to just slow down a little bit, just to give himself that space to then arrive, as opposed to maybe taking some players out of the game. And that's where he's going to kind of miss out. Because ultimately, if you're going to be the striker for Chelsea, you need to be able to score goals. On this occasion, neither of the 2 strikers did score a goal. But Delap showed some really lovely touches when he came on. It was a really good debut for him, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you see, for all the criticism that we can have on Jackson's movement, for Delap is natural. He's a natural number 9, which I don't think Nico Jackson is as much, certainly. But for Delap, everything we will show you now is what comes naturally to him and what he's so good at. This is first one. He goes in behind, he stays because the ball doesn't come to him, he wants to come short, and then he runs that channel, one-on-one, great, and then maybe just like a bit of precision in that cross. But this is so good what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sort of 3 moments of movement. And we've just seen with Nicholas Jackson there, he's gone and that's it. Yeah. With this one, you're on the blind side, then you sort of sell him that run, you come back, and then you go again. And the link up with Cole Palmer, that could be really beneficial.
I mean, that's a link up that we've seen blossom throughout the years, both of them in the City Academy, both of them playing for the England youth teams, and they've had a lot of success. And you can tell, look, Delap's only played he's only had a handful of training sessions for Chelsea, but there is that telepathic link between him and Palmer. And I think the thing with Delap, I don't think he's as gifted a footballer as Nico Jackson is, perhaps, but is he a better centre forward? Maybe. I think he thinks like a centre forward a bit more than Nico Jackson. You can kind of see that in his movement. He made a number of runs in this game, in that little cameo that he had in that right channel, begging for the ball. And Palmer, you could tell the minute he got on the pitch, he found that target that he wanted to kind of find.
Absolutely. I mean, you'd go a step further, you said, Julian, that you don't really feel like Nicholas Jackson is actually a striker.
Yeah, I don't think he's a 9 in and out striker like Delap is, for example. I think Delap, like we've just been saying, is perfect for that. I think Nico Jackson is probably more of a second striker, almost like a 10 even, like we saw that pass for Neto. I don't think Delap can hit that ball for Neto on the first goal. I think for Nico, it comes more naturally. He's got that vision.
Tight spaces as well.
Yeah, it's just the finishing that lets him down, which is something that Delap has a lot of, that finishing qualities.
And I think it's more of an instinct, to be honest, rather than I don't know if that's something you can teach. It's something
for
you
me,
really
Delap
have.
is born with it. Yeah.
I mean, just to be devil's advocate here, I would say that Delap has had that tutelage, whereas for Jackson, it has come to him pretty quickly. It's been quite a meteoric rise, and then you've got the pressure. We've seen that with a lot of strikers over the recent years. Let's know how you're feeling about this. I'm going to ask the 2 of them now. Delap or Nicholas Jackson? We've got the hashtag, the press CWC. Make sure you let us know. For you 2, Who, by the end of this season, will be that starting striker for Chelsea? Who do you think, Leah?
I think both of them, like I said, bring different qualities. And I almost think it really depends as well, too, what's around them. Because like we kind of talked about Nicolas Jackson, he's somebody that likes sending people through, combining with others. But when I look at a guy like Pedro Neto, for example, I think some of his best attributes come in those crosses that he kind of serves into the box, and he needs a target for that. And maybe that's where Liam Delap just suits Chelsea's wingers a little bit more. Maybe he suits Cole Palmer in terms of unlocking that playmaking side to his game. I think at the end of the day, goals will be the ultimate decider. And I definitely bet on Liam Delap to score more than Nico Jackson.
OK, so you're going for Delap?
Yeah, same. I don't even think there's a debate.
Really?
I don't think there would be. I think tonight Jackson started because he's still your number one starter, and Delap has just arrived 2 minutes ago. But for me, yeah, no debate.
And one thing I will say about that as well, too, I know they were asking Maresca, they were asking Delap, could this kind of spark some competitiveness? I think the center forward position is one of those that you just don't rotate. Yeah. If a guy is in form, you don't drop that guy. And I think there's going to be one.
I think there's going to be a newfound pressure on Jackson. I think he might get the shirt for those first few games. He has to deliver straight away because I think there is a mindset there with Delap that he is just chomping at the bit. That was there for all to see. Bit of a hidden gem and a different role for Cucurella, you spotted you.
Yes, exactly. It's what we've seen all season, but we wanted to show it again to you. We talked a lot about the fluidity at PSG yesterday. It's very different for Chelsea, very much position football. You see in build-up phase, the 3-2-4-1, and all that left half space there is for Cucurella, who's usually your left back, out of position, but in position is very much another forward. Is almost as high as Nico Jackson there, always in that space. That's him. Nobody goes into his box. That's why we kept the box there. And again, even when you recycle the ball, he's still there, always in that area. And even when he has to come back a little bit to offer an option like that for Robert Sanchez, very quickly he gets rid of the ball, and where does he go? Again, in his box, really high on the pitch, not at all like a traditional fullback.
But the question is, Leah, do you want him there? Is he actually going to impact the game? Is he going to have a bit of a ripple effect on the rest of the players and really help them in any way?
Paul Scholes has kind of spoken about this in the past and said, is it a great thing if defenders are kind of having the most touches on your team? Do you maybe want a more attacking player or a midfielder in those advanced positions? I kind of think so at times. I think Cucurella has had a really great last 12 months, both for Spain and for Chelsea. But I just question, similar to Jules, how effective really is he in those roles?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if there's this sort of new trend when it comes... Like the fullbacks over the last few years, it's been so interesting to see them be inverted and then become centre-backs. And now we saw it yesterday. Hakimi, Nuno Mendes, they can really break the game. I just don't feel like Cucurella is going to be that man on his own. There needs to be a bit more rotation.
And it's pushing even more because in that second half when Enzo came on for Lavia, he played in the double pivot with Caicedo. So inverted, but in a very different way even than in the first half.
OK. Interesting stuff when it comes to Cucurella. It'll be interesting to see how deep they can go in this tournament. One thing that was really, really fiery and quite nice to see was a little spat. Neto got the opening goal, and then we kind of saw a really, really cheeky celebration from him. So you can see, like, where did this come from then, Leah, in terms of what was kind of happening and who was he having this spat with?
I believe that's Bouanga on the other team, and how it sparked, I'm not too sure. Like, for anybody really questioning how much are these players really invested, I think this kind of shows it, right? There is a bit of malice there, but I kind of like that, man. I kind of like that. And the celebration on top of it.
Very, very deliberate.
Yeah, I like that.
We were able to see a few different shots of it. And about 3 or 4 minutes before this, I could see Neto laughing. And I was thinking, why is he laughing? What's going on here? And then at half-time, it carried on, and it was all revealed. And look, he's doing it again, this laughing. I kind of enjoyed it. And, you know, these teams, they're taking it incredibly seriously. And is it the heat? I don't know what it is.
Competitiveness, you know, maybe, something like that.
That's how you respond to it, though, huh? Grab a goal, the other guy misses his. Hey.
Absolutely. Great stuff. So that was Chelsea against LAFC. All looking good for Chelsea. On to the second game, and it was Boca against Benfica. And in this one, it took Boca a while to figure out Benfica's 4-4-2 mid-block. But this is how they did it. So you've got the two teams here, and of course Boca Juniors in blue. And what they did was really interesting. Now, first of all, you've just seen Belmonte come in. Herrera got injured about 20 minutes into the game, then got a red card, which we'll come to. But the two players that are really important here, Blanco and Palacios. So when you've got a 4-4-2 mid-block, which so many teams have now, and it's interesting, isn't it, to see an Argentinian team play a Portuguese team. First time it's ever happened. And when you've got a 4-4-2 mid-block, what's difficult is getting kind of through the middle. And what they did really, really well, and they didn't have the bulk of the possession, but it's a different way of playing, which you're going to see on the press. We're going to show you how these different teams match up. They went long. You can go through, you can go round. Yeah. They decided to go over. And it was a very, very clear tactic. Check this out, because you can see Palacios and Blanco in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you can see it there, both spotlighted there, both got their arms in the air, and they are waving. They can see that they've got that overload. And it's something they did a few times in the game. They were get a free kick in the second half. Palacios then wins that duel. And as you can see, now they're in business. They're in behind. Blanco's got the ball. He gets a little bit of luck, goes through. But then this is fantastic, Julian, isn't it? Yeah,
Marentiel with a proper number 9 movement. You see he's waiting, goes in between the two centre-backs, and we've tracked his run at that near post to cut the ball and the cross. That was perfect from Blanco with a tidy finish.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, it shows the different ways that you can kind of get the job done, because that is the thing I'm intrigued to see, is that those, you know, these different continents coming together, and you think of that top line of different countries and they all play the same. You're going to find out in this show that, you know, the teams in South America, they all play very, very differently. One player that was missing was Cavani. Sad to not have him there. I could tell you were gutted as we were all kind of watching the games. But Marentiel did really, really well. And a theme of today as well has just been really, really clever movement, and he was able to show it to get that first goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, similar to Delap in terms of how his run kind of just destabilized the entire back line. That run right there, kind of evading Otamendi in the way that he did, and that neat finish at the near post. Beautiful. Yeah, great decision there, great tactic there from Boca Juniors. They went 2 up, but then, of course, the game ended 2-2. It all kind of fell away, and it was all about decisions. First one being this one, which went to VAR. What do we think, boys? Come on, this is Stonewall.
It's clumsy from Palacios. It's really clumsy. He doesn't need to go there. There's no danger. Otamendi's not going to score with a back heel volley in the air or something like that.
And just to say, this is amazing. Herrera, bodyguards. When did bodyguards start turning up in football games? I didn't realise that was a thing. Yeah, it's definitely it's a messy, it's an American thing for sure. But Herrera was going to do some damage there, so fortunately the bodyguard held him back. Bit of a nightclub move there. I've done that once or twice over the years. But yeah, that was the first incident, of course, that got them back into the game. But that was the first of the red cards. Herrera, who wasn't even on the pitch. And then on the pitch, Belotti was the next one. Thoughts on this, Julian?
I mean, we used to love Andrea Belotti when he was at Torino. He had those 3 amazing seasons in Serie A, and then the move didn't work out at Roma, and now with Benfica, where he's on loan.
It was a booking first, though.
First booking, because I don't think the referee sees it from where he is, and then you see he almost chopped the head off Costa, and really...
Oh, Julian, not that far.
I'm more surprised he can get his foot that high, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I think he carries a bit of timber as well. You know, we can do the celebration.
I love that. That's harsh. No, we don't fact shame the mission. Come on.
No, that's sorry.
In terms of a chopping in half, though, that was naughty. It's one of those ones when you watch it straight away. He's off. A bit dramatic from me, but you know, I love the game. And here he comes, and it was so unnecessary. They're in the ascendancy, and to get themselves the win, obviously you need every single player. But it was one of those games. It was really, really feisty. Otamendi stepping up for Benfica. How do we feel about Benfica in this game? Disappointed?
Underwhelming, to be honest with you. I think you looked at both of them and Porto yesterday. I wasn't too impressed with Porto. I thought Palmeiras actually played quite a good game against them. And similar today with Benfica, obviously credit to them from coming down 2-0. That's not an easy feat, but I think you expect a bit more. Full credit to Boca Juniors today, though.
Yeah, and we thought this was a really, really big one, didn't we? Because these two have got to play Auckland City, but also Bayern Munich. And so it being a draw, I mean, sets it up perfectly, doesn't it?
Perfect. You expect them both to beat Auckland and probably both to lose against Bayern or give them a good game. So we see who manages the game against Bayern the best.
I think actually it comes down to who manages the game against Auckland the best. Who can score more goals against them?
Probably as well.
Yeah, it could get to that, couldn't it? They've set a high bar, though, haven't they, Bayern Munich? So that was Boca Juniors, but there's another Argentine team in the competition. They're bitter rivals, River Plate. And who better to tell us all about them than Barbara Fritzler, the River reporter. She's not reporting on rivers, she's reporting on River Plate at this tournament. We can go to you now, Barbara. Hello, Barbara, how are you?
Hi, James. Hi, guys. It's very nice. It's lovely to be having this communication with you. And things are going great. Oh, I'm looking red. I got burned by the sun. I don't look like this in my phone, I have to say. But yeah, and Like, oh.
Jo-
But about the spelling, I was listening to you guys, and it's a very funny thing to hearing you spell Merentiel. Like, it's like Merentiel. I love that.
Yeah, you're happy
Sounds
with that?
better, to be honest.
Okay, we're trying our best. We're trying our best. But that highlights an important issue. Factor 50. Where Factor 50? So, Barbara, we've seen huge numbers of Boca fans tonight in Miami in their Benfica game. So, can you tell us why this tournament has always been so important for the Argentinian teams and, crucially, River Plate? Do you think they can do it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so important for people in Argentina because, and in South America, because it's a tournament that having the chance to compete with the best teams in the world, but because we think European teams are the best in the world, they have all the stars, they have all the best players. So there's always a huge expectation to really figure it out if there's such a difference between them, and I think that's what's so special about this tournament, and this being done, like the way that it's done, it has never been done before, and it's awesome, in fact, having this conversation with you, it's also a picture of what is being this FIFA Club World Cup, and it's amazing, it's huge. The expectations in Argentina for Boca were a little low than for River because of the group stage mostly. But the proof of today, it really showed that South American teams are here to fight and to prove that maybe it's possible to beat European teams.
Barbara, we talked a lot about Franco Mastantuono in the last few weeks and his move to Real Madrid, and he's obviously the new wonder-kid of Argentine football. What can you tell us about him, and what kind of impact do you think he can have on this competition?
Well, Julian, I think that, about football, Franco Mastantuono, I don't know what else can I say, because you can notice that he's a really good player when you're watching him playing a match. But I think what makes him very different is the way that he understands the game. Because, every player that gets to his level is a good player, has good qualities. But what really makes a difference between a good player and a player that is different, like, what Messi had and still has, it's the understanding of the game. Read the moments perfectly, and I think that's special about Franco Mastantuono, because it's amazing to watch him on the pitch at a very short age, like 17. He's not even 18 yet, and having this understanding of the game, making the right call at the right time. That's what he does, and it's wonderful to see. He had. I don't think we can really measure what he's grown in these past 6 months. It was awesome to witness it, because it is like in every match we see something new from him, having a new ability. He probably it's very hard to define him on the pitch. But I have to say, Franco Mastantuono is a midfielder. In fact, he's not a right winger. He plays as a right winger because Gallardo, the coach, chooses to have him on that side of the pitch for him to strike with his left leg. That is in fact his leg. But he's very complete. He's a midfielder, in fact.
Barbara, on the topic of Gallardo, or as you said, Gallardo, this is obviously his second stint at the club. The first one was obviously so successful, but how have things been since he's returned to the River Plate?
Well, I have to be honest on this one. I mean, River has been struggling a little because expectations were really high. River spent a lot for what it costs to South American teams, mostly Argentine teams. It spent a lot in good players, and expectations were really high, and the team didn't kind of meet himself at the first 3-4 months of this year. It was like the worst start in like the scoring goals in River history. But then the team started to appear in the games. The game started to get a little better, and it had like 2-month period that it really met the expectations that it really had. But still, there's a search for an identity that Gallardo is still doing to meet the real team that it proved to be in the past. But River fans always think that if there's a person in the world who can get River to their best level, their best identity, that person is Marcelo Gallardo. He has all the credit in the world, and fans are not dropping his hand,
Amazing stuff, Barbara. Fountain of knowledge. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the sun. We were sadly, we're in London, so it won't be working out for us. But thank you so
I swear
much.
I don't look like this in person, but thank you very much, guys.
I'm sure you don't. Okay. She looks all right to me. So we saw against Esperance just how Flamengo go about their business. Let's take a deeper look at why they're so good under the impressive Filipe Luis. We've spoken about Boca Juniors, but this is a very European style. It was almost like, it's a Brazilian Arsenal here. Always looking for the shortest pass possible. So many passes here, we've had to speed up. This is ×5, by the way, where they're keeping the ball, and it's just not a long pass, it's not a long pass, it's never a long pass. And Jorginho, making his debut today, steps into this, and, duck-to-water stuff, isn't it?
This is absolutely brilliant stuff from Flamengo. Honestly, this is one of the most impressive performances by a side I think I've seen at the Club World Cup so far. And the utilization of triangles and the wings in particular, those wing backs, Varela on the right in particular, fascinating stuff and very dominant.
Yeah, and I think this is the goal we're going to see here. Another 10-pass move, Julian. And Filipe Luis, he's got a joystick with these guys. They're so under control here.
And when you think this is his first job as well, as a number one manager, he coached a little bit the youth team and then took that job and has been fantastic, really, at only 39 of age, so just after the end of his career. Great stuff, great finish. We saw that, Darius Keita, wonderful goal, wonderful passes. The recycling of the ball is great, just everything, the movement, always finding the free man. Esperance were not very good, let's be honest. Probably the second weakest team after Auckland that we've seen in the competition so far. So they will be tougher opposition for Flamengo, but very good start. They're top of the league in Brazil, which shows as well the momentum that they have, and maybe not surprising that they played so well.
Yeah, dark horses, I think, Flamengo.
I think so.
I like them.
I agree.
I do. So, 4 games tomorrow, and the one we want to talk about is Olsen HD of Korea Republic taking on Mamelodi Sundowns from South Africa, and making his debut in the commentary box for this one is the stunningly talented Brandon Smith, who joins us right now. Brandon, I've been there, mate, with the debuts. Any nerves or just excited?
I would say that, but I've been on the Tower of Terror today in Orlando for the last 7 or 8 hours. So, no, I'm joking. Yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I've been here for a few days now, and I've just been able to sort of sit back and watch everyone else do what they do, and it's just been like, right, okay, that's the level now. So, really looking forward to it. Olsen HD, of course, against Mamelodi Sundowns. It's a really exciting fixture because obviously it's 2 teams that have never played together before, and they both have very unique stories behind them. So I can't wait for tomorrow night.
Yeah, and I think what's great here is, a really great one to kick off your career in more real football, let's say. FIFA, whatever name it is at the moment, the game, let's not even say it, is very, very important to your life, and it's been such a great tutelage for you. But this is such a unique first fixture. So here's a bit of a practice for you. Tell us about it. What can we expect from this matchup?
Well, where do you start? You can expect one thing from Mamelodi Sundowns is that they'll have a very unique entrance into the stadium. So one thing that they do that I don't think any other club does here in the United States of America is that they will sing and they will dance from the bus into the changing room, which is one thing about Mamelodi Sundowns that I've already learned today. Alongside that, there's so many traditions that they'll do with the fans on the pitch. They've also got some incredible club legends and stories. There's a player called Dennis Oyango, who is 40 years of age. He's their sub-goalkeeper. He is still in the 26-man squad. He's just come off the back of winning a 12th championship, 8 of them on a row. They are a ridiculously talented side, this Mamelodi Sundowns. And I think where obviously we don't get to see them on the global stage, the fan base to have, I'm sure if a goal goes off, the views on that will be incredible. So from that side for Mamelodi Sundowns, some interesting traditions there and some real stars and some club legends certainly to talk about.
And we've seen it today with, the great presence from the fans in the stadium, and we're going to show you some pictures of that in just a second. But so what have you been able to experience there? Like, how enjoyable has it been to sort of see the colour of it all? It's so special to see, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think the one thing that we've realised is that different cities and different fans have come out in their numbers. So, for example, at the moment, Orlando, I'll be honest, it's been pretty chill because a lot of the games that are coming to the two stadiums in Orlando, I think there's only 2 games actually being held in the stadium right tomorrow. I think we're there with, of course, Mamelodi Sundowns against Ulsan HD, and then 2 days or 3 days later, Benfica come into town, and then it's all eyes on the opposite stadium here in Orlando, where I think Man City will be playing against Juventus. So it's safe to say, I think out of all the cities here, I know Miami's not that far away, but fans are slowly starting to arrive, and I feel like tomorrow this part of Orlando will be a lot more alive and a lot more electric. But I'm just so excited to see how many fans Mamelodi Sundowns are going to bring to Orlando, because they could honestly start the party.
Yeah, and look, when it comes to Sundowns, they've won the league year after year after year, brutally in terms of the amount of points. And a few people feel like they could cause a bit of a stir at this tournament. Would you agree?
But I really want them to, selfishly, because I'm commentating on 3 of their games. I'm commentating on all their group games. A really interesting stat as well, James, is that they've only lost 10 games in their last 5 seasons, which is about 150 games. I know, obviously, that's a ridiculous stat. And I think one thing why I want them to do really well is obviously they've got their rivalries in South Africa, like the Orlando Pirates, who have been on social media, and they've been saying that they believe that there's certain players that are going there just to get selfies with Borussia Dortmund, and sort of that they're just coming just to make up the numbers. But I really want Mamelodi Sundowns to have a really good run in this tournament, because they've been here to an Intercontinental Cup prior, and I feel like this right now, with the form they're in, the players they've got, the investments they've made in players outside of South Africa, this could be a massive opportunity for them.
Amazing stuff. Brandon, all rooting for you. We don't need to. You're going to be absolutely fantastic.
Good luck,
enjoy it, and I'm sure we'll speak to you very soon. We're looking forward to listening to you, mate. Best of luck. OK.
Cheers, guys. Enjoy.
Cheers, Brandon. So let's head over to the social media board and have a look, because it was all about the colour and the passion of the fans today. You can see Esperance taking over Rocky there. Brilliant stuff in Philadelphia. And it was absolutely everywhere. You had the Boca fans, of course, taking over Miami as well. And that's still Esperance in New York. They were absolutely everywhere. Yeah, a bit more sun there for the Boca Junior fans in Miami. Amazing pictures there. And I think it made a huge, huge difference in the game. Don't you think, Leah?
100%. I think you can kind of see the games with fans like this. I mean, it's raucous for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what we want to see from this tournament, because, of course, we've got the World Cup coming up next year, and South American fans, we remember with Qatar as well, how fantastic it is to see them all here. They add so much to these tournaments. Incredible, incredible stuff. It's been great to see, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we said yesterday already, it might be a bit of a slow start because there's a lot happening in the US in terms of sports. The NBA finals are on, the NHL finals are on. But little by little, this is going to grow and it's going to get better and better.
100%.
Absolutely. It's been a great day, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I've got to thank you both so much. It's been great watching the football with you. Yeah. And there's so many more games coming to you later today. Let's have a look at them. So, of course, we've got Fluminense versus Borussia Dortmund. That's at 5 o'clock. River Plate against Urawa Red Diamonds at 8 o'clock. And we just spoke to Brandon there, didn't we? Ulsan HD versus Mamelodi Sundowns at 11 o'clock. And then Monterrey versus Inter Milan at 2 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. And, of course, crucially, the press at 4:30. We will be here. Neve, a.k.a. Stump Peg, will be joining us. Once again, huge thank you to Liez. We will see you later on in the group stage. And Julian, you'll be joining me again, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Lovely stuff.
You can't get rid of me so easily.
Goodness for that. OK, so that's everything for today. We're going to see you again tomorrow here on DAZN.